down by the field.
Yeah.
It's, oh, we get so narrow. You know, you couldn't even get it. I think my feet was the end, but I tried that, but then all the drifts ended up at the end of my traffic. Yeah, and I couldn't.
So you can get out of that, your
Places.
videos.
Yes.
Yeah.
Well, only have to show them a few.
I'm not sure
But it was.
of that one, but at least they can hear you.
Yeah.
Which is when you make the
I'll send that email for work Monday, very blessed.
You said you need the code, so.
It's off. And
That's fine, you should hit reverse.
Which is simply the, her path from where you were around.
Make it bigger, just so that way you can.
How amount of time you fill?
And then-
More?
Click there, if it's not there, it's under purchase order.
This is field, perhaps, we show.
Then it's under.
Getting him?
Yeah.
All the silver caught. Regardless of those.
Feels me out here.
Yeah.
Trees out.
But even this car, like in both of our cars, and feels, you still have to get from the house to there.
Always that house on the left, right? Is it how? If this was a college class, you know, we.
I'm gonna make sure I can. Turn it off. All right. Please. I would have had to do it anyway, because there's a bunch of issues today. No, just the camera.
That's okay, yeah.
Yeah, that's it. It's like it's on.
Alright, are you ready for the? Eight. Hold on, what's up? Meeting on
Freight office.
Go ahead. 878. 9826. 4830. And there's a passcode too.
Go ahead.
944
944
642
642.
is the passcode.
You still your microphone's on. I don't know what to do about the camera at this, but I can probably shoot that later.
All right, so we have audio at least live streaming. We just sent Rob the code, so just make sure to talk into your microphone because they're not gonna have a visual.
Under your hit record, so that way you can always listen to it later.
Okay.
Okay.
Okay, it's 8:47, call the meeting of Shellfish Commission to order. We have a quorum, and I apologize for the delay and some of the technical difficulties, but we will continue on. First order of business, calling the. Hearing none, the second order is correspondence. We have no correspondence to discuss, so we can move on to approval of minutes from February 10th. Has everyone had a chance to review minutes? Yes. So is there a motion to approve?
I make a motion to approve.
Do I hear a second? Second. Any discussion? All in favor of approving the minutes? Aye. Minutes are approved. Next, agenda item 4, report of our meetings.
I don't have a lot. I was away for the past 2 weeks. I was just notified. Thank you. I was just notified by the chair of the Bo Gemp Memorial Shellfish Restoration Fund that we will be receiving a $2,000 check to go towards the Upweller project. I would like to set up an account with the finance for other members of the community that would like to contribute to this. I think that there are other people that would have interest in it. And once we have it up and running, I would like to invite the family to come down and see it running and possibly have a naming ceremony in honor of Bo. I think the family would really appreciate that. We are still looking at applicants for the 3 shellfish warden positions, which we've gotten an incredible array of individuals of applicants from science to criminal backgrounds, not criminal.
Criminal justice.
I did not finish that sentence. Please don't, please don't. Criminal justice backgrounds, which we were also looking for. So I'm pretty excited to talk to the top applicants by the end of the month and get those interviews going for them, so. Now that the weather's warmer, we're gonna be working on the skiff, get the fuel issue worked out and get that back in the water so we can do water testing for this month. And that's all I've got. We did have a great meeting with Malcolm before you guys went out and got the last specimens, before you guys went out shellfishing
Right.
on the construction of the upweller. And he's gonna help with that, but we're gonna do, the majority of that is gonna be done in-house. That's all I got.
Katie?
And we just have Malcolm and Rob joining us now.
Oh, very good. Having skipped the report from the chair, normally this time of year, I've come back from the Maine Fishing Forum with the report, but I didn't make it this year. So I don't have any update on that. Perhaps we'll get some information on that from Watson and Banker, which is a chance to communicate with us teaching class right now. So let's move on to the update on soft shell clam projects. Again, without Roxanne here, I can say she sent us communication back in February 16th. With the results of her students' work on the organisms they found in our recruitment box. It turns out in those boxes, we had almost 5,000 little clams, but they were not soft shells. They weren't by an area or cohorts. The vast majority, 4,842 were amethyst gem. We only had 5 soft shells and we had 8 green crabs. But the idea was thinking, so we are trapping things in the boxes, but because of that, we're thinking that we probably missed the spawn and we will try to get a recruitment box here next week. And install next week. She hopes to come out on the 19th. And with that, we will be reinstalling our predator netting and setting up our recruitment boxes. So if you would put that on your schedule for next Thursday. For that wartime flag, so you can note it. Okay, and now we welcome stars of the show.
I will,
We have pictures now.
I will apologize. We are having issues with our camera this morning. That's why you guys can't see us.
That's all right.
That's not fair. We can see you, you can't see us.
Oh, is the,
Anyway, so the next item on the agenda, which involves you guys, is an update on the Roger Williams food stocks project. So we have on screen Robert Holbert, lead scientist on the project, and Malcolm Bone. See, let's describe yourself, Chief Procurement Officer. I have that right. Anyway, welcome, gentlemen. Can we hear them?
Thank you.
Yep.
Or do they look like?
Thanks, George.
Malcolm, you muted up, so.
Oh, I know.
he's muted?
I'm
No,
not muted now, okay.
No, but I'm worried that our speaker system is down
Oh.
because the camera's down.
Okay, so you're not muted, but, well, if you say something, well, I'll see if we can hear you.
Can you hear us?
Check, check, 1, 2.
No, we cannot hear you. Okay.
Bummer. I can hear Rob.
Yeah, I can hear you too.
If you want to take over taking notes for a second, I'll go grab Amanda, see if she can help us with that.
Somebody can join from their phone or something, or another laptop, even if it's not TNS.
Yeah, we can't hear either one of you. Nothing shows that it's muted on our end, but clearly the speaker's not working. The external audience. We'll try to get that fixed momentarily. But, while we're waiting on that, we're gonna have a discussion here about the, public hearing that's coming up regarding the staff order. So we can finish that part again and hopefully be back to you again with the short one. So the question I have is we have in front of us the changes to the ordinance that have been published. And will be discussed or brought up for discussion in both at the March 18th town council meeting. These reflect the changes that the town solicitor has made in our discussion, further discussion with the town. That Jonathan, Barry, and myself had to maybe land to clarify what's in here and why it's in here, what isn't in here. And why that is.
Let's see.
If you had a chance to look,
So just
see
add
typos,
another laptop.
misinformation that you notice.
Everything looks good to me on my end.
Yeah. It'll be below.
Yeah, the way it's presented always makes me have to look at it, but
I know.
it is recyclable.
Okay. Jim? I agree with you.
I turned your laptop on.
Right, this is very careful. It always is a little confusing for you for that, but it wasn't, we gonna keep this the first time, but, okay. So, I encourage all of you, if you can, to be at the meeting next Wednesday. The 18th.
18.
Is that? Yeah, we'll be from Wednesday. And hear the discussions that the public brings up and the town council brings up, and I'll be there to answer any questions. Hopefully, I'll be able to answer the questions, and if you certainly encourage you to join me if you're interested. So we're still waiting to get you guys up and running.
Katie's gonna set up her laptop and go through her. We're just gonna go through her laptop.
Okay.
I'm gonna get this done.
So bear with us another couple of minutes and you should be good to go.
Gotcha, thank you.
If I turn this meeting. No, I'm gonna have to do this. Well,
Okay, sounds good, thank you. Bye. You have to do a home chair.
okay.
As he said, it'll reset the system.
We'll completely reset it, so we're gonna lose it.
We can get right back in, it won't, I can't do anything about it to get it to work. The camera has to go. Okay.
We can see you, but we can't hear you.
We can hear you now.
Oh, now I can.
Yeah, I'm in a microphone now. Yeah, we
Oh,
can hear
good.
you.
Can you hear me too?
Yes.
Great.
So we're ready to hear what you have to say. And thank you for waiting. That was painful, but we appreciate you being here. So I know we had a great collection when you were out here, and Kate was talking about how helpful you were, Malcolm, in our design of the upweller. But so you've had the clams now a week and 2 weeks, maybe?
About that, yeah. So
Okay.
we collected them right before the storm, and then we set them up in conditioning the following day. So the good news is that they're doing great. Even starting on day one, they were outperforming the first batch of clams from Block Island. So they're currently in the conditioning phase, and they will need a few more weeks before they're ready to spawn. But in the meantime, they're doing great. They're clearing their food. We're increasing the amount of food every day, and we're gradually increasing their temperature to get them nice and ripe and ready for spawning.
Yeah, that is excellent news. They're behaving as they should. That's a nice
Yes.
change. Wonderful. Yeah. Thank you.
I'm wondering, off the top of your head, Rob, is the water temperature in the 50s in the tank?
Yeah, it's around 57 right now. So we usually condition them up to 68, 69 Fahrenheit. And then we hold them there until they're ready for spawning. And in the meantime, we open a few every now and then to see how the gonads are looking. So it's too early at this stage for us to open any. We don't want to waste any until we're more confident that they're closer to being ready. But they are performing as they should.
It's interesting. Typically, when the water is, say, 57, it'd be like middle to middle of May, usually, middle to end of May. So you could imagine it's like an artificial spring, if you will. I had some questions about the nursery system, if there are none other regarding broodstock. Just
Yep, I'll
wanted
take any
to,
questions, but
I don't see any other questions. So, yeah, that is excellent news and a welcome change from the first time. I guess it'll remain a mystery why the first group didn't perform. But
yeah, and by the way,
it
we
took
still
your
have the
careful
first group.
handling, I'm sure.
I do have a question. With the second group that was harvested, were the sizes generally bigger than the first group?
There was a pretty good variance in sizes. When we collected that Thursday, we ended up collecting close to 150, which is more than I needed for broodstock. So I was able to select the largest of them to use as broodstock. So they, on average, they might be a little bit larger than the first group, but I don't see a big difference in terms of size.
All right, great. Thank you.
Were you able to enjoy some clams? Malcolm?
Malcolm did, yeah.
they
Great.
are fantastic.
Okay. Now, would you compare to Little Compton clams? Are they as good as that?
Different, but not better.
You can explain to everyone if you want why I asked you that question, but that's okay.
It is interesting though. It's wonderful to have wild shellfish, especially quahogs as a Rhode Islander.
Okay, well, we're sorry for the delay. Feel free to talk about the upweller somewhat.
I'm interested to hear in terms of progress or design, what phase you guys are approaching, and just wondering how best I might be able to help.
So we just received the first funding that we were waiting for. So now I feel confident that we'll be able to cover the full budget expense of what I was anticipating. So with that, I would say I'll be starting to prep my supply list of what we're going to be needing. That's where we're at.
Awesome. Awesome. Maybe sometime this week or next week, we could set up a video call to just go over some dimensions, and perhaps start with the silos as the 5 gallon buckets that we discussed, and then maybe build the dimensions around that as kind of like the common unit. And then aside from sourcing a pump, I think sourcing the screens is going to be an important material. We want to make sure we get durable screen that is food grade. Doesn't necessarily have to be, but typically what they call pet screen, or like the plastic window screen that we use in residential applications. That will not last very long. It will work, but it's also a very fine mesh. So there may be some alternatives there, and there are some resources that I can send over in terms of constructing those bucket silos as kind of the building block of the system. And then just um, as far as getting the water to the tank, if there is somebody who would be able to do the plumbing, I would defer to their expertise in terms of um, getting the water to where you want it, and getting it back. And that would determine the pump style that you use and how much energy you might use as well.
So I just have to get in touch with the plumber now. I'm still waiting on the permit to make sure that we have that site agreed upon. It didn't seem like there was going to be an issue, but I haven't heard back from him. Again, I was also away for 2 weeks, so just catching up with everybody.
I don't believe that upweller
Yep.
permits require a hearing of any kind. I think it's just an administrative.
It was just administrative.
Okay,
Hey,
awesome.
Malcolm, I have a quick question regarding the plumbing. You were saying how it's plumbed would determine the pump. Is there a recommended, um, uh, like, I don't know, metric, like the amount of flow, amount of gallons per minute based on square footage of mesh, or like, so if we go and start looking at plumbing, what do we need to consider for pumps and stuff based on some other number? How do we go about sizing it?
That is the majority of any math or calculations. In our a week ago, our Tuesday night applied shellfish class with we had guest speaker Dr. Dale Levitt, uh, and he spoke for 3 hours about nursery systems. Within that presentation were a number of metrics to calculate water flow and surface area, or volume within those silos. So I can send over some pretty in-depth spreadsheets and other things that you might be able to plug some numbers into. But generally speaking, it's what's the biggest thing is how many animals you plan on raising, either the first season or in the future. That's going to determine how you build the system and how much water you would need. So it might be a good idea to think about, and depending on what Rob and Kim and the hatchery are hoping to provide, that will determine, how many animals. And if you guys have a target number for down the road, you might want to think about building it for, say, 5 years in the future. And then this first year, just starting with say half volume of the system because it'll still work. So that's probably the biggest thing in determining what kind of hardware would be required.
Thank you.
Any other comments or questions for Malcolm?
Malcolm, Katie and I will reach out at some point this week to organize a video conference for next week. That'd be great. We appreciate it.
Absolutely.
George, how would we go about determining the volume that we're looking to produce, say, 5 years down the road? Or anybody?
Well, we had a really good conversation with Malcolm about the construction of it and the size and what I have in my head and how we can, again, start out small, but it will be able to have the capacity to have the nursery expand with our needs and what we're looking at. So this year, it's going to be a trial and error, but we'll be able to expand the number of animals that we have in there.
I mean, one question, and this goes back to the.
And we can also add to the system. We can continually add to the system.
What, but to that question and to the hardware, this is very speculative, but what order of magnitude of animals, seed, might we expect to produce this year? I mean, it could be 0 to, and we should plan for the larger number of that as a first year.
That depends entirely on how much I can get out of these clams. But I'm hoping to provide you around 100,000 seed.
Okay. I think in the past we've acquired that and more, but that's a start. So we should at least make sure we can handle 100,000 seed. That's what if I'm hearing correctly. And if we have more capacity than that, that's fine. We'll get that in the future.
Yep.
Okay.
And if I get more seed, then I'll give you more seed. But I think that's a pretty good starting point. Quahogs, unfortunately, are not as productive as oysters are. They don't produce nearly as many eggs. But I think we can get you 100,000 at least.
Okay, well, that gives us a target. So that's great. Thank you.
We also have that other area that we're going to be putting out Catherine's other spat shell that we could potentially get some oyster seed and put some oysters over in that area as well, south of the club. We don't just have to do quahogs.
That may be another reason to increase the volume off the bat. because a system like an upweller will work very effectively for both in their first year.
Well, great. If we have the funding and capability, we probably should build it up even for 200 or 300, 400,000 seed. I don't, shoot the moon.
A
I think in the
system,
past, we've acquired that much seed at one season.
a lot of it depends on their size. And
Yes.
that begs the question, um, come Halloween or Thanksgiving, where are these animals intended to go? And are they going to be just scattered and bottom planted? Are they going to be kept in an intermediate nursery? Are they going to be kept over the winter under nets? Has there been any discussion with the planting process and the hopes to um, come up with a plan there?
Um, there really hasn't,
No,
but there's several ideas that we know of that could be, and I'll talk and then you can talk. And I mean, there are things like putting them in netted boxes, on the flats to overwinter there. There's also floating, netted boxes to keep the clams in. I think we need to investigate that, but that is a very good point. We don't expect the clams to reach full plantable size in one season, if I understand correctly. So they do need to be overwintered, and that is a, big consideration, how we're going to do that.
I would like to work with the aquaculture farmers, and they could safely put them in their areas also. Or I know the area where they put the market size is not probably very good, but that could be, those could be in sinking boxes on the ground there. That's town property. But we have options, and we also have time. Let's build this thing first before we.
That sounds good. Just my estimation is at best, the largest of these animals would probably be somewhere around 20 millimeters, if that, between 15 and 20 millimeters, um, before their first winter. And you may not even see them at market size until 3 winters, if they're
And
cohogs.
and at that point, at that size, aren't they going to want to be in sediment,
That's correct.
right?
Yes.
They can't just be floating.
So subfaunal animals like cohogs, they depend on that sediment pushing against the shells, especially in the wintertime. Oysters don't need sediment, and that's why they're easily growable in cages. But the idea of sinking boxes is, I think, a sound one. And I'm just reminded of over by Rat Island there in the backside when we collected. It seemed like a dynamic area, but fairly calm, with good flow. And hopefully there won't be as much ice next winter as there was this winter. But it didn't seem to be as much of a problem on Block Island there, so that's good.
Well, 20 millimeters in size is not a bad size to plant. It's on the small end, but we've planted clams at that size before and had success as long as they had predator netting over them.
If you have measures in place like faunal netting, that'll um based upon the amount of juveniles I saw with moon snail marks that had been eaten. There are a good number of predators, and I would imagine something in that first phase would get cleaned out if there wasn't some type of predator exclusion, like nets.
Yeah, yeah. Great. Well, we look forward to your video call with Harbors next week to talk about the Upweller plan, and wish continued success with the brood stock in the hatchery.
Thanks,
Any
George.
other-
It'll be another few weeks before I have another update, but
Okay.
so far so good.
Well, we meet every month, so that timing is perfect. Thank you. Thanks for being on the Zoom. Appreciate you hanging out and waiting for it to all come together.
No problem.
Thanks for having us.
Enjoy the day.
Thank you. You as well.
Take care.
Any other business? Yes, okay. Okay. If nothing else, do I hear a motion to adjourn?
I'll second that.
All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you, everyone.